The day isn't starting out well for the Trump administration. Today, April 16th, where Judge James Boasberg has just found probable cause to hold the Trump administration in criminal contempt for violating the deportation order set forth by the court. Do you remember when Trump signed the executive order invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 so that the government could take it upon themselves to just deport whomever they believed were gang members? These hundreds of individuals in the United States, they were deporting to El Salvador, throwing them in the terrorism confinement center out there and claiming that they're all gang members. Hundreds. Well, the Trump administration was using the Alien Enemies Act as a tool to willfully, unlawfully deport individuals to El Salvador. Supreme Court justices had unanimously agreed that migrants have the right to have that opportunity for judicial review before being deported under the Alien Enemies Act. It's called due process. Well, there was a TRO, a temporary restraining order, put in place by the courts preventing the Trump administration from deporting individuals from the United States without due process. But the Trump administration willfully decided to do it anyway. And that's breaking the law. Because here in the United States, there are checks and balances no matter who you have in office, no matter who you place in your cabinet. It makes no difference if you're the president of the United States. You still have to follow the law. Now, according to the Associated Press and all the other news outlets have the same reporting, Judge Boasberg said he'd refer the Trump administration for prosecution if, and I quote, the administration does not purge its contempt, which can be done by returning to U.S. custody those who were sent to El Salvador prison in violation of his order, and they can challenge their deportation here in the United States, which they have the right to do. This is a 46-page order. Judge Boasberg also said if the Trump administration doesn't take this final opportunity to adhere to the Supreme Court ruling, steps will be taken to identify the specific people, who we know who they are, to identify the specific people who disobeyed the March 15th ruling, and they'll be referred to prosecution. Now, what does that really mean? And can the Supreme Court stop the Trump administration from doing whatever they want? I mean, technically, they're supposed to. That's how our government works. However, a crime of criminal contempt holds a fine or a prison sentence. And in my opinion, it's unlikely anyone will get a prison sentence over this. I don't know. I mean, just based on what we're seeing so far with this administration and how things play out. But the Trump administration has until April 23rd to adhere to Judge Boasberg's order. I'd be willing to bet the Trump administration is not going to return these deportees. They're in El Salvador. When the El Salvador president was here a couple of days ago in the Oval Office, he point blank said, which I shared a video on that, he point blank said he doesn't have the power to return anyone who's in his prison to the United States. The El Salvadorian president is calling all of these deportees terrorists. However, they were not found guilty. Some were suspected while others were not, but the Trump administration just says hundreds, all of these deportees were gang members. But none of them faced due process in this country, which by law they had the right to do. So we'll see what occurs with this. I'll keep you updated. Please like, follow, and share so that I can continue to provide you with content. And I appreciate you being here.